The Earnestly Speaking podcast is a show that is founded on free-flowing conversation and may at times venture into mature subjects. Listener discretion is advised.
Earnestly podcast here coming to you on March 9th, 2021. What's it, 2020? Oh, don't do that. No. We're trying to kick that habit, trying to kick that narcotic that was 2020, a disastrous 2020. 2021 isn't much better, but it feels like it's the end of the tunnel. By the way, today's show, we're doing audio only. I've had some issues with the video feed here to YouTube, so you'll be able to still get on YouTube, but it'll be audio only and not my pretty face on the screen. But anyway, of course, this is a podcast you can subscribe to on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher Radio, Amazon Music. I said YouTube, Earnestly Media, earnestly.net. I've started updating the Earnestly Media social medias as well, the Instagram feed at Earnestly Media, Facebook at Earnestly Media, Twitter at Earnestly Media. You get the drift. I'm sure you do. This title of the show is called Daddy Daycare. And the reason why it's called Daddy Daycare is because about a week ago, my wife and I, we for the first time in our relationship, spent extended days away from each other. My wife needs some time away, which is fine. It's good. It's good for the mentals, to kind of start fresh, kind of get away, fresh air. She did a little girls trip, went to North Carolina, saw snow for the first time. Just really proud of her about that. And while she was gone for a couple of days, I was here at home still taking care of business. To have my two sons, and it was basically daddy daycare for a couple of days. It was challenging in moments, but it's fulfilling overall. And my kids are great. I find myself as I get older, a lot of habits that I used to have that were hard to break early on when I became a dad are now starting to be broken now. And that's a good thing for the record. My kids are great. My kids are awesome. Like I said, two totally different personalities. But you realize that it's much easier to be a parent. And look, shout out to all the single parents out there doing this on their own, male or female, doesn't matter. It's a challenge, and I see that. Even a couple of days that my wife wasn't here, and like I said, I'm not complaining or anything because we got through it, and we did it, and I'm happy for it. But it's so much easier to do this when you have a partner. My wife and I, Laura and I, we call this a partnership, not just a marriage. We're partners. We're raising two young boys to become great men in this world going forward, in a world that needs good people. So there's a lot on us as people to make sure we hold up our end of the bargain. But it was a good couple of days. Obviously appreciated. My wife even more when she came back. And like I said, it's easier to do this as a partner. And the people who do this on a regular basis on their own, man, God bless you. Seriously. I salute you. So, and it's cool because, traditionally, like I said, we don't do this. If we do go on vacations, always as a family anyway. I like my time with my family anyway. So it's not like I'm longing to be, outside to go do things. Yeah, I'd love to do a guy's, trip somewhere. But honestly, if I had time to do things outside of that, I'd rather do it with my wife. Go out with her for a couple of days on end. Vacation with my wife or my family. Love my family. We can't help it, I love my family traditions too. I've been noticing now because I've been talking on this show a little bit about WandaVision. This came to an end finally. Season 1 came to an end last Friday. The Falcon series starts now, I think, this week as well. Friday nights has become one of my favorite nights now here, at home. I work all day, come home, we order pizza now on Friday nights, And then my wife and I will lock in, we'll watch WandaVision or whatever show was we're watching, and it would be the Falcon going forward. But we also watch Bill Maher, live. And then maybe we'll binge a TV show we're watching in the moment. Lately, it's been Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. We're on season 3 now of that. Which, by the way, that show's aged well. Not so much, obviously, the wardrobe. The wardrobe is dated as shit, But the commentary on the show, the plot lines in the show, the storylines in the show, it's aged well, in my opinion. And that show is actually more edgier than, and I guess because obviously that show started in 1990. I was 10 years old. Ended in 1996. I was 16. And I'm in my 40s now. And some of the jokes you probably didn't get back then when you were 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, you can certainly pick up now at age 40. The show's a lot more edgier than I give it credit for. But it's aged really well. But, Friday nights in my house is fun. I love Friday nights in my house. Just a lot of, traditions. And I think that's part too. That's the one night my wife and I can be up late. Well, one of the 2 nights, I'd say. Because even though we both work the next day, because my kid, Eli, my oldest kid, doesn't go to school the next day on a Saturday, I don't feel the need to. I can stay awake and, no, we're about to have to wake up early in the morning, take them to school, which I do every day pretty much at 7:30 in the morning, drop up by 8 o'clock. And what's going to change this week, too, is that my work schedule is kind of altered a little bit. I'll be going to work a little earlier, a couple days a week. So I'll have to really be awake moving forward at 7 o'clock and not just like half awake when I come home and take like a little nap before I go to work. I got to be ready to go to work before 9 o'clock. So, yeah. But Friday nights are awesome, man. I love my Friday nights here at home. It's great. Love building I love building in traditions. That's the cool thing about when you create your own family too. You build in these traditions. Like you have the traditions you have growing up with your own family. As a kid, my mom and dad, all that. Or in my case, my mom, my stepdad, and then my dad and my stepmom, whatever. And we have those little traditions you have with the families. But then you become an adult, and then you get married, you have your own kids, and you start building your own traditions. Silly as it may sound, it sounds kind of corny, but that's kind of how I am. I'm a corny guy, whatever. And you build your own traditions. And Friday nights for us has been our tradition. Now, I know Friday nights growing up as a kid, the traditions for me, I know, back when remember back in the day on ABC, the TGIF, Thank Goodness It's Friday, you had the 2-hour block of TV shows, Full House, Family Matters, Perfect Strangers, just 10 of us. And then maybe step by step, a couple of years later, newer shows go into that block. That was a tradition for us growing up as a kid. I would watch those shows as a kid. And, that'd be one night we could stay awake past 10 o'clock. So, building those traditions going forward with our family, kind of cool. Love Friday nights, though. It's awesome. Also, I've been doing, as of late, as we now entered 2 months, close to 2 months of the Joe Biden era. I've started now myself, on purpose, especially on social media, toning down the political volume. Like, I'm obviously engaged in politics. I've always been engaged in politics in terms of what what I like to read and all that. And I still read everything I can. But, like I said, and I think I even said this even before Joe Biden got sworn in January, that the burnout factor started coming in. Every so often you get burnout. Donald Trump was a lot. You felt like you had to be in the know of everything that was going on, just cause. So, the last month or so, really since the inauguration, I've been not tuning out, but turn on the volume. Like, I'm not engaging with people on social media like I used to, on politics. Before I would be, if I saw something I didn't agree with, or something I agree with, it doesn't matter. I just chomp into that and just, felt like I had to say something. You know what I mean? Not anymore. Now I'm just. Now I don't care. Now I'm in a point in my life now, like, especially now, I'm 40 years old. I just want to enjoy my life. What's gonna be different if I react to everything that's out there Nothing's going to change anyway, you know? So I've been making a concerted effort the last, month or so, last month and a half or so, just toning down the volume, turning it down. Just cause it's not even worth it. Even my friends, like even my buddies of mine, whether they agree or disagree on politics, they'll send me crap, and I'll either engage or not engage. And most of the time, I'm not engaging just because of the fact that I don't right now. Honestly, whatever, you know. You have your belief, I have mine. We'll move from there. We're still friends. As long as you insult me, as long as you're a good person to me, I'm good. As long as you're a good person in general, I'm good. The minute you start not becoming a good person, we got a problem. But you know, I don't, and that's the thing too also with me, I don't like to determine my friends, my friends are my friends, I like determined by their political persuasion. I think that's stupid. Unless they're bad people and support bad things, I don't see why we would do that. This is my opinion. You know, other people think I'm a little more soft on that issue, and you're right to your opinion. But again, you know, I judge people by their character and how they treat others. I judge people how they treat my kids, or my wife, or myself. You know, you treat my kids great, cool. You treat my wife, my family great, cool. Me, cool. You know, not who you voted for. A lot of people I'm friends with, I voted for Trump and voted for Biden, and you know, we just need to turn down the volume, enjoy life, control what you could control. You know, and vote. I'm not going to say go out and vote and have your voice be heard. But at the end of the day, you can only control what you can control at the end of the day. That's simple. So that's where my mind's at last month or so, honestly. What else? Oh, last week, Metallica's Master of Puppets album turned 35. Holy shit. 35 years of Master of Puppets. Now, everybody knows I'm a diehard Metallica fan. It's not my favorite Metallica album. It's up there, but it's not my absolute favorite one. My personal favorite is actually And Justice for All, as you guys know. But the greatest intro in metal history, the greatest first track in metal history, Blackened. But Master of Puppets is the most important metal record in the genre. It's the album that changed everything for them and for a lot of bands. Just the genre in general. Changed a lot of things. 1986, you know, it's the last album of Cliff Burton before he passed away. It's an important record. The music of there, the songs on there are iconic. You know, Battery, Master of Puppets, of course, Sanitarium, my favorite song on the record. That and Battery. Yeah, the themes on there from Leper's Messiah, Disposable Heroes, Orion, of course, the instrumental. Arguably their best instrumental of all the ones they've done through their career. It is the most important metal record, in my opinion. Like, if I give you a list of Mount Rushmore of the greatest metal records, most influential metal records in the history of genre, Master of Puppets is definitely in there. Seriously. People say, oh, what about the Black Album? No, Black Album was the most popular. The Black Album was the most popular record, without question. But the most important and influential is Master of Puppets. It's not any question. You go through the list of people, the guitar players, they list their favorite albums, the most influential albums that made them become guitar players. I guarantee you, you put 10 guitar players or 10 musicians in the genre. I guarantee you at least 9 out of the 10 will say Master of Puppets in the list. Maybe even 10 out of 10. Metallica also celebrated the anniversary. They were on Stephen Colbert again. Remember they were on Stephen Colbert last month after the Super Bowl, the same night after the Super Bowl, when they performed Enter Sandman. Of course, this year is the 30th anniversary of the Black Album. They performed Battery, Stephen Colbert last week, the day of the anniversary. The anniversary is actually March 3rd. I wanted to talk about it last week on the podcast, but didn't have a chance to. But, yeah, it's a phenomenal record. They did Battery in the show. It sounded great. You know, by the way, James Hetfield, for what it's worth, these last, 4 years, probably his best And look, he's not necessarily what I call a great vocalist or singer. You never consider him to be a great singer. Or he has a signature voice, but he's not really considered a trained singer. But I would argue these last 5 years, I've watched some of his live performances. Not just seeing him in concert, but also seeing him on appearances and shows and stuff, and even in the studio. I can argue that this is the best he's sounded in his entire career. Like you can definitely see the maturity in his voice. And like I say, he's not this great. He's not this great singer in the ills of Michael Bublé and none of that. But for what he does and him stretching enough to stay relevant. I mean, the guy's in his mid-50s, closing on 60, actually. He's definitely sounding the best now than he's sounded in his entire career. So, Puppet's 35 years old. Yeah. This past weekend was the NBA All-Star Game. And once again, and I probably said this before in this podcast in the past, didn't give a shit. Don't care. I've not watched NBA All-Star Game in, honestly, at least 7 years, maybe 8. Now, obviously, I love the NBA. Diehard NBA guy. But the All-Star Game has gone through some changes in recent years. Just haven't cared. The rule changes definitely didn't help. It's an over-glorified exhibition game. Now, granted, it's fun. I actually love the NBA All-Star festivities. I love the three-point contest and, to some extent, the stand-up competition. All the skills competition, all that. That's more fun for me than the All-Star Game itself. I just haven't watched the All-Star Game in about 7-8 years. And even if I've watched it, I tuned in a little bit, I've never been engaged in it. There are things on TV I'd rather watch. Like this, and I'll talk about it in a second. AEW Revolution was on the same time. Watched that a little bit. I love the All-Star Game. I love NBA basketball, but I'm not an All-Star Game fan anymore. And that really applies to pretty much every single sport, not just the NBA. I've never been a Pro Bowl guy in the NFL. No matter what they do at the Pro Bowl, no matter if they make it, in Hawaii, or make it here in Miami, or put it the week before the Super Bowl and all that, it doesn't matter. Never liked it. It doesn't make any sense. Baseball All-Star Game, used to like it growing up. Don't care for it much anymore. Like the Home Run Derby. That's about it. I don't know. This is what happens to get older, I guess. You watch, and especially now in the era of content. So if I'm not into it, why waste the time to watch something I'm not into? Use that time to watch other content. You know what I'm saying? Kind of works on that way. But no, not a fan. I don't hate it. I just haven't really watched it much. I mean, I saw Giannis won the MVP. He was 16-16 in the game, and LeBron played a few minutes in the game. Didn't play that much. But I'm engaged in the NBA season. I mean, definitely engaged in the season. But the All-Star Game, nah. When I say take a break, I do take a break for the NBA. Literally, I don't watch the All-Star festivities outside the competitions and all that. Which probably was pretty cool. They combined all the festivities in the game into one day. They did a stand-up contest at halftime. They did the three-point contest before the game and all that. I thought that was pretty cool. I'm not saying something you should go going forward. It should be a weekend to celebrate the league and all that. But my favorite All-Star moment, obviously, of all time is 92 with Magic Johnson coming back when he had HIV positive that same year. Had to retire, and he came back for the All-Star game 2 months later. I remember watching that game live. It was amazing. But I've never really... I mean, I could say never. This is really the last few years I really haven't been the biggest NBA All-Star advocate, if you will. So, yeah, but it's not for everybody. It's good for me, So, staying on the NBA, Blake Griffin got bought out by the Detroit Pistons this past weekend, and Sunday. Was it Sunday it happened? Yeah, I think it was Sunday. Sunday he announced that he will be signing. Oh, actually, it's Monday. I'm sorry. Whatever day it was. Monday, he'll be signing with the Brooklyn Nets. Now, lots of opinions on this. Can he be helpful? Is it worth it? I'll give my opinion on this. It couldn't hurt. the Nets, it's not going to kill them salary wise because he got bought out. So they signed him. I don't know if it was a mid-level extension, the mid-level exception, or was it the whatever those exceptions is. It's not going to cost them much money on the cap. Let's put it that way. And I like this move for the Nets for one reason. You're not asking Blake Griffin to be a core guy. Now, he's averaging 12 points and 7 boards a game this year in Detroit. Clearly, he's not the same guy he was even 5 years ago. His knees are done. He's had, 9 surgeries down on his lower body. So, clearly, he's not the same guy he was when the Clippers drafted him, of course, why not? But he can still contribute. If you're asking him to give me 10 points a game on a team that has Kevin Durant, James Harden, and Kyrie Irving, okay, and even Joe Harris, who's a major threat from 3, you're asking Blake Griffin to give me 10 points in the spot. And by the way, he can stretch the floor too. On top of that, he's actually not a bad shooter now. That's enough. And who knows? Maybe he gets motivated playing in Brooklyn. I mean, the guy was melting away in Detroit. You want to talk about a franchise that's had some phenomenal moments through its history, but now doesn't matter on the scale, on the NBA scale anymore. Detroit, the Pistons. A legacy that includes Isaiah Thomas and Joe Dumars and Chauncey Billups. All that, and they don't even matter anymore. They're literally off the grid. Literally. So Blake Griffin could at least now say, well, maybe get a second win here. I'm playing with probably the NBA final. At least, at the very least, at this point, if you look at the standings, the best team in the East, the favorites in the East, I'll put them there right now in the Eastern Conference as the favorites. Absolutely. Without question. Yeah. Why? Maybe he does get a second win and contributes in a big way. But he's not a core guy either, which is even better. You're not asking him to be Blake Griffin circa 2013 when he was third in the MVP race. You ask him to give you 10, 12 points a game. And you're playing with Kevin Durant, James Harden, Kyrie Irving. Shouldn't be that hard. So I like the move for the Pistons. I mean for the Nets rather. Well, the Pistons bought him out, of course. Yeah, that team's a dumpster fire if you never saw one. All right. What else have I got on the list here? Oh, yeah. Reviews. Let me save the Coming to Work review for the last topic of the show. AEW Revolution just happened this weekend. A lot of people are shitting on the show, actually. A lot of people are shitting on AEW this weekend. I actually finished the show today. I didn't watch it live. At least I started some of it live, but I didn't finish it. I didn't finish it until today. If Tony Khan is within earshot of this podcast, which, by the way, I did tag him on this earlier today because I did leave a little comment on AEW Revolution today on my Twitter feed. By the way, EJChristian7 on Twitter. Tony Khan, I know you only do 4 pay-per-views a year, which is cool. I'm cool with that. But please, enough with the 4-hour fucking pay-per-views. Please, enough. Less is more. Less is more. Especially on a Sunday. Saturday, I can somewhat justify that because most folks don't work Sunday. I know I don't. But why'd you do a 4-hour pay-per-view on a Sunday when most folks in the real world have to work on Monday morning? A lot of them work early in the morning. Like, for real. Like I said, I'm okay with the 4 a year and then TV, but please, enough with the 4-hour fucking pay-per-views. Please. I give WWE the same shit. Prior to COVID, all their pay-per-views were 4+ hours. WrestleMania 6 hours. Way too much, man. I'm sorry. That's overkill. So, love it, God, Tony Khan. Please cut down the pay-per-views. Please. Less is more. But like I said, and I tweeted on Twitter earlier today, and folks might agree with me on this, but because of the vibe of the show, you look at it, the show went flat. I totally disagree with everybody on that one. My co-host on Take 3 Wrestling, Mike and Joe. I know Mike told me he gave it a C+. I gave it a B+. Friend of the show, Big Jim James Neese, said C+ also. I completely disagree with him. C+. B+ for me. other than the big, blunder at the very end of the show, where the ring was supposed to explode and didn't explode, and it looked fucking terrible when it happened. The show was solid. I thought every match for the most part was good. Jim Ross sounded like shit. Jim Ross, I guess, had a cold or whatever it may be. I kept saying to myself, Jim, just fucking cough it out, dude. Cough it out. Turn off your mic and cough it out. Take 10 minutes. Go away. I know everybody's shitting on Jim Ross these days, and I'm trying to defend him, but yeah, he didn't sound that great. But yeah, he sounded like shit. Like Chris Jericho and MJF against the Bucks, great match. Gave it an A-. The Casino Tag Team Royale, I thought was actually fantastic. Gave it an A. Even the women's title match, Hikaru Shida and Mizunami, I give that a B. And that's saying a lot, considering the women's division is still a work in progress, to say the least. You had the street fight with Sting and Darby Allin against Team Taz. I thought that was done pretty well. I'll give it a B. Moxley and Omega, was not looking forward to this match because obviously I didn't want to see a death. What was it? It's a death explosion. What the fuck? Whatever it was. My brain is fried right now, dude. Death explosion, explosive death barbed wire match. Something like that. I thought the match was actually really good. The psychology was great. And most of the spots they did was fantastic. Up until the last one. Of course, you got the big reveal. Who's the big signing that the AEW was going to have. Tony Khan teased it last week on Dynamite. Or throughout the week, rather. They're going to have a major signing, a Hall of Fame talent. People were guessing, was it Brock Lesnar? Was it CM Punk? Could it be anyone that ilk? And I'll tell you what, I've been someone that's learned through the years, and this is going to apply to my review of Come to America in a second, how to temper expectations. Because I knew Tony Khan was overpromising on something. So I tempered it. On Take 3 last week, I said that my prediction would be RVD. My other prediction I had really before RVD was Christian. And I was right. Christian Cage was a big reveal. By the way, it's a good signing. It's a really good signing. He's not iconic in the same way of Brock Lesnar and CM Punk, but he's a really good signing. He's a top-level wrestler. Hall of Famer. But again, expectations matter. If you go out and say this X, X, and Y, people are going to expect X, X, and Y and then some. Brock Lesnar is that kind of person. So is CM Punk. Christian Cage, not so much. As great as he is, all-time great. It's a good signing, but I wasn't. It's a good signing, and I think he's in great shape. Obviously, there's a lot of value. Still a lot of value to Christian Cage, to AEW. I think he'll do well if he's used right. I think now with Moxley to losing Omega as well, they could use some star power. Because I think John Moxley will be off of TV for a little while. Because his wife, Renee Young, she's having a kid. They're having their first kid very soon. So I imagine Moxley will be off TV for a couple months. Which is not a bad idea. Because you can extend this rivalry with Omega, have a return match again this summer or later in the year. So, but I enjoyed the show. I thought people were saying the show is shitty. I think if you take away the botch at the end, it's a great show. Don't let the botch be the one thing that ruined the entire 4 hours. Don't let one little 10-second botch ruin a 4-hour show. I thought the show was really good. The ladder match was fantastic. Arguably the best match of the night. So I give the show a B. B+. Let's go. Yeah, I'm an AEW mark. Yeah, I know that. Everybody says I'm an AEW mark. I've been shitting on AEW the last couple of weeks. On this podcast, I did a podcast with Big Jim last week, Big James Neese, about the Wrestling Observer newsletter and about how Meltzer and his people are big time AEW, homers and all that, and I agree with that. I love AEW, but I'm very unbiased. I will call out shit if I see it, if I don't like it. I thought this show was good. sets up well for the future, especially with storylines. We'll see how to recover with the botch. So, okay, finally, before I go, Coming to America, the second installment, 33 years later, finally out. Once again, I tell you people about expectations, about tempering them. They mean something, you know. I saw a trailer late last year or January when it was they released it. Thought the trailer was good. Realized that this could be a solid movie, but don't think it more than it really is. You're talking about a movie that Coming to America for me, number one, personal favorite of mine, top 5 all time for me, top 5. And I was a big movie guy growing up. Not so much these days because I'm more of a TV guy these days. But Coming to America growing up for me was a top 5. Period. End of discussion. Nothing is going to match that. Okay? Especially 33 years later. So you wanted to so my thing was temper expectations and judge this movie for its own. Now that being said, I knew right off the bat this movie was going to be as good as the first one the minute I saw the rating. It's PG-13. Coming to America, the first one was rated R. Eddie Murphy's my favorite actor of all time. Okay? Beverly Hills Cop, Coming to America, Trading Places, Golden Child, you name it. I don't like Eddie Murphy tempered down. I remember in the 90s after he did, the run with Boomerang, all that, he started doing more and more PG-13, even PG movies. And a lot of people didn't like it, including me. I get why he did it. He's a father, young kids, I get that. But Eddie to me is the best when he's able to just be Eddie Murphy unfiltered. Coming to America is unfiltered. And when I saw the rating coming to America, number 2, the second one, this new one, I knew, okay, this is definitely going to be as good as the first one because it's already restricted, PG-13. And it had moments. The movie honestly was solid. It's a solid movie. Now, it's not a movie I think I watch over and over again like I do with Coming to America, the original, because the original one just has that je ne sais quoi, if you will. It has that. It just has that energy. And yeah, so the movie was solid. They had moments, some good jokes here and there. Obviously, you had some great, cameos in there. Some of the old characters from yesterday were on there still. It was good. Like I said, you judge it for what it is. It was a solid movie. I gave it a B-. If I had to grade it, B-. It is what it is. The jokes were good. Some landed well, some didn't. I thought the movie, if anything, that one of the things I probably made it much different than the first one is this movie was much more slapstick in comparison to the first one. Like the first one felt more believable that a guy from Africa, a kid from Africa, come to New York and try to find his missus, his wife, whatever. This one felt just kind of out of left field, almost like just some anomaly, if you will. Didn't feel as natural as the first one. Now, I'll tell you what, though. Sherry Headley, the queen, Lisa, oh, she's still gorgeous. Even in her 50s, she's still gorgeous. Wow. She's aging very well. Yeah, so my wife hated the movie. She watched half the movie and she's like, I'm done with it. I've gotten mixed reviews, mostly bad ones of the movie. Most of my friends say they hated it or they thought it was terrible or whatever. Some said it was okay. So I maybe read maybe one great review. So, but again, I think, and this is why I hate trailers too. And I spoke on this show before in the past, that we're living in an era where trailers get more attention or as much attention as the movie itself, and trailers give you a false expectation what to expect. And I feel like the trailer may have actually thrown people off. Maybe. Maybe not. I don't know. But I enjoyed the movie for what it was. I was entertained for a couple hours, and that's it. That's all you can ask for. So, anyway, gave it a B-. Okay? So, anyway, that would do it for this week. Not this week, but this episode of the Earnestly Podcast. Again, I'm on Twitter at EachPerson7. Remember, we're on YouTube, Earnestly Media, on YouTube, Earnestly Media, on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter. So, we'll talk to you guys soon. Love you guys. Take care, and see ya.